Well, hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hi, Steve.
This is a very official meeting, but I know more people who can't be here than there are here right now. That's why we have this recording. And I actually met some people today, and they did not know me, they did not know about it traveling, and I got to talk to them, and all of a sudden, there's 3 more people want to go with us. So they're actually in Mackinac, and right now, they're probably having dinner at the Grand Hotel. Wouldn't that be nice?
Never did that.
It's really nice. So for those people who are at the Grand, you're watching this now, and it's just fine. I guess everybody knows I'm Steve Olson, and this is kind of all my fault. So what can I tell you? I'm tickled pink, actually. Sometimes I come home and I'll say to Mary Lee, I said, you know, I gotta pinch myself. Is this really happening? Because this is what I really wanted to do for many years. And let me just tell you a quick little story. I actually am a driver as well. You know I drive coach. So today I was up to Mackinac and back to Detroit. That's where I met these wonderful people from this trip. And it's only because our 5 or 6 full-time drivers are all out of hours. And there's only about another 10 like part-time and substitute. And everybody is working like 7 days a week. And the other company I drive for only has 9 buses full-time. They're out all the time. And their drivers, you know, you can only drive so many hours in a day and so many hours in a week in a 70-hour period. And it's just nuts. And then I also drive for Hilton. I do the 3 hotels down there. I drive shuttle, you know, whatever they need me, just kind of fill in. But in the last 2 times, I've talked to people, and everybody's going places. I have a friend that's in Hawaii for the first vacation in 7 years. He's 3 weeks in Hawaii, all by himself. He said, I don't want to go with it, just by himself. But that is what we're seeing. All the coaches are taken. We're booking solid April and May right now. We found 1 coach available for a high school going to Cedar Point in April. Otherwise, anything from Toledo to Saginaw, you can't find a coach. So why would I say all that? It's because people are traveling. People are going places. They're going domestic, they're going international. Since Phantom said they were closing in February, they're selling out 8 shows a week, and I'm not sure you could get a ticket in December, which is great, you know, for those who get it. We've got 150 going to New York on November 21, and I've got tickets, because I bought them like last February. But New York City is busy, Chicago is busy, Cleveland Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they did a really big redo, kind of renovation, and it's just really neat. So all that to say, yes, people are traveling again, people are going places. We had a small group in Ireland in August. It was a wonderful group, but Ireland is like the hot spot of Europe. There are people going there from all, hey there.
Hi. We're tardy, sorry.
We'll talk about the 2 rules later. It was really cool. In fact, those are 2 people who went with us to Ireland. And there were so many cool things about travel. Now realize, we're coming out of a situation where everything was shut down. Well, I'm preaching to the choir. You all know that. With the pandemic, globally, I mean, it was really tough. For businesses like Bob Rogers Travel, it was tough. I lost 11 trips. It was my best year. 2020 is going to be my best year, my 10th year for Showtime Productions, and everything just went. So slowly, and now more rapidly, things are coming back. People are ready to go, and it's accessible. Prices are up. I'll talk to you about Alaska in a minute, but even our trip to London, Paris, we had to raise because in 2024, we can't get the same price that we got in 2018, 2016. Airfare is up. You guys know, you've looked at airfare recently, if you can get what you can get. Spirit just got bought by JetBlue. That's a big conglomeration. That's a whole other conversation. But it's expensive. So we try and keep things as inexpensive as possible. But it is so nice to see that people are traveling again. It really is. And I'm sure that's why you're here. I'm sure that's why you're listening. So we'll see if we can get this going here. Tonight we're specifically looking at 3 places. We have a trip to Italy next year, which was supposed to be in 2020. We had 43 wonderful people all signed up. The last time we met, it was a Sunday evening, we took the picture with our shirts on, and I think it was the next day we found out that everything was canceled. I mean, that was hard, because we were all ready to go. I mean, it was cool. You should know that we have been able to keep quite a lot of the same things, whether it be our hotel, whether it be our performances, the deposits we paid on, for the church cathedrals. So there are a lot of things that are still there. Venice is still there. I don't know if you keep up with the rising water and the. We just hope Venice will not be like underwater when we get there. But you never know. I mean, have you all followed what's happening in Venice over the last 5 years, 10 years? You need to watch History Channel more. Anyways, we are going to be there. And when we go there, we are going to have just a blast. Italy. Just by a show of hands, how many of you are really interested in the Italy trip right now? That's kind of what you're here for. How many of you are interested in the Alaska trip? How many of you are interested in the London-Paris trip? Okay, good. I have one lady and her husband, and I think it's on the website. I'm not sure. They've gone, I think, on like 3 or 4 trips, and they basically said, "Doesn't matter where you go, Steve. We'll go with you." And I thought that's kind of like the biggest compliment I could ever want to have. It's interesting in the fact that when I formed Showtime Productions, it was because there were some things that didn't happen that I felt should happen. Specifically when you go to a show and they put you on the top row, the top 2 rows of the top balcony. Well, yes, you're in the show, but it's like the cheapest seats going. It saves the company, and the company makes more money. As you know, even when we go to the West End, when we see Les Mis, we get great seats. If you go to New York with me and go to the Rockettes, we're on the first balcony, usually starting at least in the 3rd row, some of the best seats in the house. When we go to hotels, there's no surprises. When we go to restaurants, there's no surprises. Many times, we've used the same bus drivers before, and that really makes a difference. Now, I did have one that was new this time when we were in Ireland. I did not know Brian, but I have another trip going in March, and I've already requested him. This is a different kind of a company. There's no surprise. Now, in travel, there's always things that happen. Okay? We had a trip to Ireland in 2016. We got to Heathrow in London, and all of a sudden they canceled our plane. We were supposed to go to the west side of the country, to Shannon, which is a small airport, kind of like Flint, and there was no plane. It was canceled. So I'm sitting here with, 52 people? And what are we going to do? Well, I got on the horn with Caro and a few others, and went up and down stairs, because that's where the offices were. It wasn't too long that we had all of our group going to Ireland. We went to Dublin. We brought the bus driver from the west coast over to the east coast. We got another hotel set up. I mean, it worked. And interestingly enough, people had a little more time in the airport, which they liked. because Heathrow Airport's kind of a cool place. But we made the whole thing work. So as much as we try and prepare, and I go over the itinerary very closely, and it has to be just right. The only complaint I've had over the years is there's not enough time for shopping. So we have tried to put in time for shopping for people who just like to shop. Now, when we went to Ireland, did we have time for shopping?
We had enough time for shopping.
Okay. See, for me, I'd rather be like going off to a museum or like go do something or whatever, but no, there needs to be
We
time
had
for
to
shopping.
teach him that. Yes, thank you. We
So-
appreciated it.
So itinerary, no matter where we go, is really, really important. It has to make sense. We want to make sure that our bus companies are just top notch. The hotels are great, our venues are good. And we pack a lot of things in. We just do. I mean, if you want to sleep, okay, you'll sleep the next week. But we don't really do that many really, really early. Now, sometimes we have to go early if we're going like we're flying home. But generally we have enough time for breakfast and enough time to go up and brush your teeth and get, whatever. So what I'm saying is, since 2002, I've been traveling with Bob Rogers. Domestically, Showtime handles pretty much everything in-house. But when we go internationally, I partner with Bob Rogers Travel, who is a great company. Mr. Rogers was a band teacher. He's retired. His son and daughter now run it. And Caro Ullman Short, who lives just north of Ann Arbor, and I have been partners for a long time, more than 16 years.
2004, I think is the first.
Huh? 2000?
2001.
No,
You didn't do that one?
no.
That
But Sydney's
2004.
16.
2004, yeah.
Sydney 16, so that was Austria, right?
That was Austria.
Austria, yeah.
Her daughter's going to be 16, and so that's kind of how we think about some things. So Caro's going to talk to you in a few minutes. She is very, very proficient and efficient and very nice, and we'll stay as long as we need to. Now, if you're watching this on your computer or on the phone or whatever, and you have questions, you're going to have to email me. Email is always the best way, because then I also keep a record of it, and I can see one thing from the other. So it's always showtimeproductions@gmail.com. And remember, it's SHO. There's no W. And it's kind of a funny thing, because a lot of people get it wrong. I had a man the other day who was like, "It does not work." Well, take the W out. Oh, okay, now it works. SHO are my initials. Stephen H. Olson. So it really is a play on the word, and everybody gets it wrong at least once, but then you remember it and you get it right, so whatever. So let me just go through a couple of things, and then I'm going to give it to Caro, and then I'm going to come back, and then we'll open for questions. We do have papers for you, like little flyers, and you can take as many as you'd like. All the trips are open right now. I realize it's a long time between March 2024 and now. So the London Paris, it's a long time away. I mean, it's a year and a half. But you'd be surprised. People like to start their payment plans and get it all together, and that's just kind of works great. There are so many details to going internationally. Some people have gone and are like veterans. Some people have never gone, and they always have like a zillion questions, which is fine. International travel is much more available, much more open than it was 25 years ago, 30 years ago. I would say so. And there are places that are just wonderful. We met people in Dingle, Ireland that are not tainted by just the need for, tourist money. They're just really nice people. Then when you go to Paris, they don't care who you are, what you are, just pay up. Now, I'm not talking down on Paris. I'm just saying there's different parts of the world. Germany, we've been to Dresden, Munich, we've been to Austria a couple times. It's just really neat. And I guess what I'm wrapping up to say is I've learned a lot, and I still really enjoy it. I really enjoy the plane ride coming home, when people just kind of like are showing me pictures or, you know, all some of the stuff they bought or just, you know, reflecting on things. It's really cool. We travel with students, we travel with families, we travel with singles, we travel with couples, it doesn't matter. Everybody just goes by 2 rules, and they really, really work. And the first one is we just ask everybody to be on time. Doesn't matter where we are, doesn't matter what we're doing, it's just kind of a nice thing for everybody involved. Whether it's being on the bus, whether it's going to a dinner, we just ask people to be on time. And I'm not going to say anything to you, it's okay.
You gave us 5 minutes, I'm just saying.
That's
On
right.
the trip, you gave us 5 minutes. We were within our
The
5
second,
minutes.
the second rule, everybody laughs at, and they kind of not sure, but then when they think about it, it makes sense. The second rule I have is be nice. Now that sounds really simplistic, but you'd be surprised. I mean, here was this group of people. My wife had gathered them in Heathrow Airport, and we had no plane. We had nowhere to go. We couldn't get to Ireland. And, you know, it was just kind of one of those times where we just had to sit back and we had to do some rethinking. We had a lot of phone calls to make. But I just told people just, you know, hang in there and go shopping and come back in an hour.
At London Airport, are you
It's
kidding?
great shopping.
Yeah, it was cool. But being nice is really, really an important thing. Whether you find your toilet doesn't flush in your hotel room, or you know, there's something on the breakfast table that maybe shouldn't be growing there, that, I don't know, maybe it's blood sausage that you don't really like or whatever, but you know, just be nice. You know, just be nice, and that really, really works. When we work with our drivers, you know, they are professionals. They are great people, and they love Bob Rogers tours. I've had now 2 of them say that when they see a Bob Rogers tour, they pick it up. They just ask for it because they know it's going to be a good tour. It makes sense. And the people are going to be nice. They're not going to be complaining. So that's a lot rambling. But some people have not traveled with us. If you have, sorry, I'm just kind of like, you know, going over a couple things. So we have 3 trips. Italy. Italy is a wonderful place. My wife and I, by the way, that's my wife, Mary Lee over there. And she's sitting down. This is her room. She's the choir director here at Franklin. And she is, luckily for us, one of our travelers. She goes with us. And it's just, it's a good thing. Lost my train of thought.
Italy is a great
Italy.
place.
Yeah, I know Italy, but where was I going? We spent 6 days 4 years ago in Italy prepping this tour. We went to the hotels. Actually, we changed one. I didn't like it. And the one that we chose has like a wine cigar bar on the top roof. It's like a little restaurant. It's so cool. After a long day, go up and have a glass of wine. I mean, it's pretty cool. We are going to hit some of the major tourist things in Italy, just because if you're going to be in Italy, and it may be the only time you're in Italy, you might as well see some of the important things, like David, the statue. Okay, yeah, you gotta see David. We are going to La Scala, the opera house, which is pretty famous worldwide, and we have an inside tour. I think we are. I think we're still doing that, right? Yeah. We will be in Venice. When we go from Venice and start heading east, we stop. We will stop at Verona and we will stop at Assisi, 2 different days. We could go right by them. We could drop by them. But what we've decided is we're going to spend lunch in Assisi so that you can see the chapel of St. Francis of Assisi. We're going right by it. Why not? And then we're going to stop in Verona because there's that balcony, the Romeo and Juliet balcony. I mean, you know, we could wave as we're on the highway, but we might as well stop and get a pic. I mean, why not? I mean, it might be the best picture you've got in the whole, I don't know, whatever. We will work our way through and end up in Rome, where, you know, you've got to see the fountain, you've got to see the Colosseum, there's lots of things. And interestingly enough, on a sheet of paper that we have, and we'll give you tonight, it lists a lot of these highlights, not all of them. But it's a tremendously accurate representation of a wonderful country and making sense as we go through. So we don't circle around, we don't spend a lot of time on the bus. We will go in one part of the country and work our way through and then fly home from Rome. Now, one of the questions that we've had, and we've had several people do this over the years, is if they want to go a few days early or maybe stay another week. Now, Keith did that on one of the trips. And then
Paris.
you stayed,
London, Paris.
yeah.
We stayed extra days.
He stayed some extra days. So if you like want to stay in Rome, or maybe you've got relatives that live like 50 miles away, you may want to just extend your trip a little bit, and we can facilitate your airfare so you're not coming back with us as a group. You would come back separate. It may be the same amount, but you may not be flying back with us. But there are things that we can do. Believe me, there are so many things that Bob Rogers and Showtime can do for you as a traveler that makes this trip, it may be the only European trip you ever take. And that's understandable. My idea is every trip has to be just incredible. Or maybe you go like every other year. Maybe you're counting all the countries. I don't know. But I remember the first time I was in Europe, and I just couldn't believe it. I thought I would never get back. And then I've had the opportunity to go back, which is really cool. So every trip is set up really well. Italy is going to be just so wonderful. It's going to be great. And we are doing, I think, most everything that we had planned to do in 2020. I think the itinerary is pretty much the same. By the way, in Italy, not everyone speaks English. And I can sing in Italian, but I can't really carry on a conversation. So we will have a translator with us the whole trip. And it probably will be Julia again. Hopefully so. I communicate with her about once a year. Yeah, I still, that's for sure. Not sure what color hair she'll have. It was blue the last time you were there.
That's generally.
Really super gal. Mid-late 20s. But anyway, she will travel with us because there are places that when we go as a group, she will just need to communicate, which is great. I'm the tour director, but she will be the one who will be communicating with either, like a restaurant owner or something like that. And there is one restaurant, I know they don't speak a lot of English, which is really cool. We ate there. So we try and think of most everything to make sure your trip is really good. We do not do baggage handling, which would take, so much dollars, in addition. We figure you can carry your own suitcase. Generally, we have one suitcase and then a carry-on. And wheels are great. If you have wheels, that really works well. When we get closer to our trips, we'll start doing things. We talk about money exchange. We'll talk about electricity, lots and lots of different things. So that's all really important. In Italy, we will be singing. We have 3 concerts lined up. Not everybody has to sing, but we are going to be doing American hymns and some spirituals, and you're all welcome to sing. We have a wonderful organist who travels with us, a good friend of mine. I worked with her for 6 years in church, and her husband are coming, and he's also a really good singer. But so we don't do a lot of rehearsing. We kind of like walk into a cathedral. We might get a half-hour tour. We kind of get on the front, up on the steps. We do a concert. It's free for anybody who comes in. We sing, and then we walk out. So we don't do like large rehearsals. We do pay to do the concerts. There is a fee, and that's, of course, all included in your prices. But it's a really cool thing. And all we do, all I've done over the last 12 years is we only bring American music. I don't want to bring something in Italian.
Right.
We might
Might
mess
sing
up a
it wrong.
word.
Yeah.
And why would we sing Italian to Italians, right? So we always bring just American music. One time we just brought all folk music, which was a lot of fun. It really was. So that's just a neat part of the trip. We will start meeting on November 7th. That would be our first time here in this room. Normally we get together on Sunday nights. And probably after Christmas we'll have 3 or 4 or 5 Sunday nights we'll meet. And it's usually only like once a month. We go over music, but we go over a lot of details. We also get to know each other. And that really works out really well. But anybody going to Italy, we would like to have you here on those Mondays. So that's Monday, November 7th, and Monday, December 5th. Won't be too long, an hour and a quarter, something like that. But they really are important, and there'll be information. And after Christmas, you start getting your itineraries, because I won't hand them out yet. But on the flyer you'll get tonight about Italy, you'll see a lot of the highlights, which is really good. Alaska, I have 4 or 6 people that asked me to put Alaska trip together. And I went through like 7 different cruise lines and companies and just came back to Princess. Princess is the oldest, it's the biggest, it's the best. We've only cruised on Norwegian Cruise Line, NCL, but I'm looking forward to being a part of Princess. Princess in Alaska has a lot of facilities, a lot of things that we will do on the land tour. We do a 4-day land tour first. So we will fly out of Detroit and we will do a land tour. There's the train, there's a couple of the remote like hotels and stuff. It's pretty cool. And then we do a 7-day Princess cruise. And I've already got 10 cabins reserved on the port side and left side. So as we're coming back, everything on the land is on the side of our ship. So you see everything. I mean, it's nice to see the ocean, but it is really nice to be on the port side. So they're all reserved, and it's a lot of money to reserve. But anyways, we're locked in. I don't have airfare yet, and so if airfare comes down, which it might, the price will actually come down a little bit. But I had to price, really high just to make sure that I was covered. So anyways, that is on the, by the way, all these trips are on the website. So you can all see that. And it's just always letsgoshowtime.com. You can see that. Okay. London, Paris. I think this is our 3rd trip to London, Paris. Haven't really changed the itinerary much. It is so good. The only thing is, and I said no the first time, and I finally said yes to Caro. We will be doing the Warner Brothers tour, the Harry Potter place, which is like an hour north of London.
A little less, but with traffic
Little less?
and stuff, yeah.
It is probably one of the coolest places in the world. It is so cool. If you have anything, any like of Harry Potter, this is the place. So you can look it up. We'll have the name of it. You can look it up. And so where I kind of poo-pooed it
Yeah,
the
you
first
opted into
time.
that one.
I did. I said, no, we're not going to do that. And then when we went back and we did go, I said, I'm wrong. This is so cool. So we are doing that again. So there's things in London you got to do. I mean, we will be in the West End. We'll see a show. We have dinner at probably the zaniest place called Zastro's.
The restaurants.
It's just a really fun restaurant, sit-down restaurant. And we'll be there hours. We will take a cruise on the Thames River. Of course, we'll be in the West End. Of course, we'll see Buckingham. We'll see the Changing the Guard. We'll, oh goodness. We basically spend 3 days in London and 3 days in Paris. We will take the Channel across, which is actually kind of cool, going on the train, going underneath the water. And then we get to Paris, Of course, they'll be at the Louvre. By the way, the Mona Lisa used to be in a room about this size, and it was like in one corner, and it was always hard to see. They have moved the Mona Lisa, and the Mona Lisa is in a room probably twice the size of this room, and it's on a wall right here, and that's the whole, there's nothing else in the whole room. So they have like a rail here, but everybody can see it, because everybody wants to see the Mona Lisa. I mean, it's really cool. And I go and see it every time. So we'll be at the Louvre. We do the Eiffel Tower, and we do it at night, which is spectacular. I've done it in the daytime, which is kind of cool, but at night, Paris, it is just the coolest. It is really, really cool. So I feel like a salesman, but I guess that's what I am. It's just these are all three really great tours. London and Paris. Even if you've been there before, we really enjoy bringing people to good places. And then again, some people may want to go, may want to extend. I already have two families who want us to go back to Scotland. We were up in the Highlands of Scotland. It was just so cool. And yes, we saw Nessie. We took a ride on the. I've got a picture of Nessie on Loch Ness. I mean, I saw Nessie. I know I did.
Did he wave?
No, he was swimming away, but I got a picture of him, so I know he's there.
How many Guinness did you have that morning?
Got some Irish coffee as well.
Edinburgh is just one of the most incredible towns. We actually sang in St. Giles Cathedral, which was cool. That's a whole other story. But the Royal Mile, the castle, everything, so Scotland's cool. So, if you guys like traveling, all you need is about, you and like 4, 5, 6 of your families to get together, and we'll put together a tour. I mean, let's say, I have friends that went to South Africa. I've never been to South Africa, but I mean, they went and they actually did a safari. You did a safari. So, anyways, if you, I mean, I'm thinking about going to Budapest, just because people have told me that Budapest is a really, really cool place. So I don't know. We'll have to see how this goes. But these three trips right now, we want to get people going, get people signed up. I think we're over half of what we had for the Italy trip before. I think we're like 25, 26 people. We don't like to usually go more than 50, but we definitely have room on all three trips. And then London, Paris, we can get signed up, we can get going. So we'd love to have you on any or all of them, really. And again, email me if you have questions. I think I'm going to bring Caro in now because she's got lots of things she could talk to us about. All right?
Talk about just facts. We'll talk about some facts, so
All
that
right.
you guys have some of that.
Come over here, and we'll go back through the trip. Okay, so for Italy, just to reconfirm the dates, will be June 22nd through the 29th of 2023. Like you said, we have about 25 people signed up. It is more fun to have a group of about 45, especially if you're singing, to be balanced choir, and just more friends to have fun with. Payments have already started for because it's kind of a postponed from 2020. If you are joining now, we do have a payment schedule set up that starts in November through April, but you're always welcome to go in your account and pay as much or as little as you can, as long as your account is in good standing by final payment, and there's some sort of deposit so we know you're really serious, and that we can go ahead and reserve your airline seat as well. Those are the important parts. The trip cost for students, so anyone under 18 as well as adults, anyone over 18 is $3,495 for double occupancy. That means in Europe, the rooms have 2 twin beds. So you'll only be sharing with one other person if you choose double occupancy. You pay a little bit more if you would like your own private room and not have to share with one. It will be most likely a single bed, maybe a full-size bed. So there's no king-size beds in Europe.
King-size rooms either.
Yeah, and then, so breakfast are at a hotel each morning. They're wonderful, full buffet breakfasts with really anything you can imagine, and pastries. It's good. It will make me hungry now. And then we also include dinners each evening that you're in the country. They're generally 3-course dinners, and you also have your first drink included, and that's a drink of your choice if you're over 21. And but that's because there's no free refills in Europe, so we want to make sure that you can enjoy at least a drink outside of just regular water. The most important thing I do want to talk to you guys about is, because this is a big investment, it's a fun investment to make. It's certainly a great reward at the end, but you do want to protect yourself. We all know what has recently happened, so though we don't anticipate anything like that happening again, we do want to protect you, or want to offer the most protection. So we have partnered with TripMate, which is a travel protection company, trip insurance company. And so they have made it easy for you. As part of your online registration process, there will be an option for you to purchase the insurance. There are 2 policies available online for you, a standard policy. That means it protects you prior to travel for any cancellations within reasons listed in their policy. And it also gives you full health and health insurance, medical and accidental insurance while you're overseas, so that if most of the U.S. Health policies don't cover you outside of the U.S., so we don't want you to come back if something happens, so we have to go to the doctor just for a simple flu, and you come back to all these co-pays or out-of-pocket expenses that you didn't anticipate, and you don't really want to worry about. So this is a great way to protect yourself. It also gives you additional, and I know we've used that on one of the returns, also gives you additional benefits in case there are some sort of delays with the airlines that nobody really has control over, or we've experienced a lot this last year, lost baggage, knock on wood, that's all been resolved for moving forward, but it gives you some benefits to recoup some of those things in case there is some sort of loss. The health and accident insurance is really the most important. They do offer an enhanced policy, which would give you a 75% guaranteed back, no questions asked, until 2 days before the trip goes. So I always make a good example: if your son or daughter all of a sudden comes home and their grades drop to D's or even worse, and you're like, it's really not a good idea for me to send you on this reward trip because you're not doing your part. No one's going to give you any money back because we've already committed to it, but this insurance called Enhanced or CFAR, cancel for any reason, would give you 75% back of what you've paid in. So again, another way to protect yourself. Not I'm anticipating any students to not follow through and do what they said they're going to do, but a lot of things could happen that may not be following within the covered reasons.
Can I interrupt for a second?
Yes, of course.
Just so everybody understands, domestically, Showtime Productions does everything. When we go international, we partner with Bob Rogers. So you can go on the website, letsgoshowtime.com, and you will get a link. You will get something you click that will go to Bob Rogers. But all the registration, all the payments, everything will come through Bob Rogers Travel. Does that make sense? For all our international. They have wonderful assets that I could never even come close to. And their connections and their experience and their decades of successful travel is way better. Now, I get to work for them, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So I am actually the director, so I actually work for Bob Rogers. But just so everybody understands that these international trips are, now I should say, the Italy and London, Paris are through Bob Rogers. The Alaska is just through Showtime. So you'll always be clicking and working with Bob Rogers. And they have wonderful people in Illinois who answer questions and things like that. So just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, perfect, wonderful. So, and I won't bore you anymore with the insurance. We just have to make sure we share that with you, give you the opportunity. You're also welcome to purchase your own outside of insurance. You don't have to, use any of this. We just want to let you know it is worth protecting yourself. I do it for all of my trips when I go personally and on business because I never know what could happen. So those are the basic informations, or the black and white informations on the Italy trip. For the London and Paris trip, the trip dates are March 23rd through March 30th of 2024. And again, that's the same thing, breakfast and dinners are included, your airfare is included, all your tips and gratuities for any services that is needed throughout your tour, all of the attractions that we list on the flyer, as well as later on in the more detailed time and date specific itinerary that everyone will receive. Again, you'll have the same process. You go to the website, you'll find the Bob Rogers trip registration form that kind of gives you the same detail again, and a link to click on to register online. You'll create, if you haven't traveled with Showtime Productions and Bob Rogers before, you'll create your account, and then you will add the travelers. So make sure you add yourself as a traveler as well. If you've already have a trip account established, you just use the trip code and add the trip to your profile. So very simple. Again, all of the same things. You'll get the option to do your trip insurance. It will ask you if you have a valid passport. If it has to be valid for 6 months past the return date of the trip. So that's an important thing to check. We have had one or two people that showed up at the airport with a not valid passport, even though we've been telling them from 2 years prior. So check your passports, calculate it out. And just have that ready. Other than that, for London and Paris, there is going to be one additional step that is going to be in effect, as it looks like right now. For when you travel, it'll be an online travel registration, similar to what anyone coming to the U.S. has to do. There is a small fee with it. It is going to be valid for 6 years, so you don't have to do it every time you would travel to Europe. But that is going to be a new step that, unfortunately, I cannot do on anyone's behalf. Each person has to do that individually, because it's sort of like an electronic visa, but they're calling it that's your visa waiver, so you don't have to get a visa. It's pretty much just extra money, and to make sure they can kind of check and see who's coming into their country, pre-clearance kind of thing. So that's just one additional thing that we have not had to talk about before, but I wanted to mention and bring it up. Details on the London and Paris. Sorry, give me 1 second. I missed grabbing that one. Let me repeat. The trip dates again are March 23rd through the 30th of 2024. London and Paris tour. The trip cost on that one we have set right now, and that's based on a minimum of 25 travelers traveling together, is at $35.95 for students and adults. There is a land-only option, so we do have some folks, like Steve had mentioned, they may want to stay earlier or go later, or you have frequent flyer miles. Those are things, frequent flyer miles is not something we can book for you. You'd have to book directly, and then you would choose the land-only option and match your flight to it, or just arrive similar. Some people just prefer to book their own airfare, and you're more than welcome to do that. We just ask you to communicate with us, just so we know when to expect you and where to find you. So that will be an option on there as well. One other important thing is that if you would like the enhanced insurance coverage, that is required for you to purchase at time of deposit. If you're doing the standard, you do have a little bit more time to decide on that or add it on later. But the cancel for any reason has to be purchased within your 14 days window of your deposit. So we just say do it with your deposit, so there's no, gray area to be confused in. We have a much more extensive payment schedule set up for this one. We are looking to start it out on November 30th of this year with a $250 deposit, and then start in January, but every other month. So I have January, March, May, July, September, November, and January 30th of 2024 would be your final payment. So that would be a total of 9 payments. Split up, we'll start with the $250, then increase it to $400 payments, and then the last 3 are $600 in your final payment. Again, with the system being very flexible, you may go in and add additional payments onto if you'd like, on the off months if you wanted to make another payment. Also, another good thing for Christmas and birthday time coming up, you are able to call the billing, our Bob Rogers payment system. We have a number for that, so if there's anyone that wants to make a payment on someone's account as a birthday gift or something like that, you can, we do have a number you can call and make those payments, and it gets posted to their accounts. That's probably the simplest way of doing that, unless giving the money directly to the student or adult. So just a little information for you. Anything else I forgot to mention?
She talks almost as fast as I do.
I'm trying to slow it down.
She's been doing it a while.
Let's open for questions.
Yeah, that's a good.
Maybe we should give out these sheets first.
Yeah, let me do that.
Let's do
While
that.
you guys start with questions.
All right. Are you guys excited to go back traveling? Going places?
Yes, very much.
I think it's the glass of wine with dinner that's included. It's really kind of a nice feature.
So Italy.
So,
I'm Italy too.
So we got the flyer and then the registration form with the insurance, quick insurance summary on the back. I do have more detailed, oh, thank you. I
I'll
do
start
have-
London, Paris.
oh, awesome.
I'll
I do
start
have more
London, Paris.
detailed insurance flyers that have more detail on them for you here as well.
So for people
but it will
looking,
also be,
this is what's available. You just need to find me. I'll either electronically send it to you or give you a paper one. But this is what you need. So this is London, Paris.
okay, Italy.
London, Paris.
So I have a question. Yeah, so my daughter was signed up.
So this has dates and everything on it. London, Paris, correct?
Yeah, go ahead.
She was signed up.
Good for you too.
Okay.
Can I room with her?
Yeah.
Or she assigned, okay.
Yeah, no, we don't, so rooming lists, so preferences of who you would like to room with, make sure you get to Steve. We don't really work on that until we get much closer to the trip, about 60 days before you leave. But let him know, we'll make notes that we know kind of who you'd prefer to room with. So for sure, any of those requests, we will accommodate.
London, Paris?
Do you need 2 of those?
Yes, okay.
Yep.
I mean, Italy.
Okay, London, Paris, anybody else?
Oh, why not?
So yeah, so on the flyer sheet, you kind of see
Go
the,
ahead, give us.
It's a great
highlights.
picture, isn't it?
Give it to me.
All right.
The trip highlights, so what's included, some of the big attractions that you're going to be seeing. And like I said, for Italy, you're going to be singing. There are 3 formal concerts planned. For London and Paris, it's not a singing group, but there are quite a few evening events as well. But I did also want to let you know, we are not, this is not a get up at 6 a.m. and go to bed at midnight trip every day. This is certainly not. You have a nice, great breakfast, not too early, not too late. But we're really home most evenings by 10.
We stayed in Paris for.
Sometimes 9.
Sometimes 9.
Yeah,
So we do give
yeah.
you some, shorter days, especially in the middle of the trip, is sort of when people start wearing down a little bit. So we try to throw in a little bit more free time on
Not
that
much.
day. Not much, but a little free time to give you, a little extra rest.
One day when
Questions?
we visited D'Orsay, which is right next to the Louvre.
So, additional spending money to bring. We need to buy our own lunches, obviously shopping. Is there any other expense that we would incur?
Well, if we go to La Scala, to the Opera House, you might want to buy a book or like a DVD or something right there in the gift shop. I mean, how many times do you get to La Scala? They have posters. My son bought one. He was just incredible.
Souvenir money, yeah, a little.
Yeah, you want to have some, and it's always good to have some currency there. But now most places take plastic, and then you always get the best exchange rate. It really works really well. But we do have a guy. Bruce is up in Birmingham, and he will come like the last meeting or something like that. And if you want to exchange like $200 American into euros, then he will come and will have it for you. So we actually do that service, which is really nice. He's done several of our trips.
And you definitely want to have a gelato fund. So I'm sure you'll allow money for that.
Big one.
And it's really funny because people who don't normally eat a big breakfast, we encourage them to get up and have a good breakfast, because you might just need a gelato for lunch and then, we have a nice dinner.
There's plenty of smaller places like cafes and things you can just grab a sandwich and go to. It's not that you know, have to spend your free time sitting down at a restaurant. I mean, if that's what you would like to do, yes, please, you're in Italy, that's what you should do, you know? But there's faster options so that you can enjoy and the sites that you know, may want to see on your own that we're not going into, but you're interested in going into, that's the time to utilize to do those
I think
things.
we're gonna stay
Okay,
out.
thank you.
Sorry, I
Well,
got-
for that time of year in Italy, what do you think the weather will be like roughly?
Hot,
Warm,
warm.
It's gonna be warm. It's gonna
Not
be
sure.
hot the next month, but
Yes,
humid too.
That's why we moved it, yes. No, June's
It's on our
still.
water.
still
June is doable.
Yeah.
August, when we were there, was really hot.
105 when I was there, and I
Oh my
never
gosh.
do
But
that
that, we're
again.
not going in August,
Oh,
we're going in
God.
June, which is better.
Yeah, most of the singing groups go in June to Italy. July, beginning and middle of July, there's a lot of music festivals that start happening, but that's when it really starts getting hot and the concerts get really pushed really late at night, like they don't start till 9 p.m. at most cases, so. Yours won't, sure, the one is, I think it's 7:38, that's about the latest one, the other ones are a little bit earlier throughout the afternoon, evening.
No, it's a good question, because those are the things that we'll talk about when we get together in meetings, you know, what kind of clothes should you wear? You know, what you should prepare for, so, yeah, and they're all different, I mean, you go to England in March, you know, you're gonna be wearing one thing, you're gonna be wearing something different in August, so, yeah.
You might want to bring up that you get a shirt for when they sing.
Well, we either have been getting fleeces or shirts just because it's just kind of fun for whatever. We do have a number of people who are coming on our Italy trip who were ready to go to Italy with us before, and they're going to wear their same shirts
Oh, good.
because they already bought them and they still like them, and I'll probably bring mine too. But it is nice to, you know, have something that we can all do together. And, you know, it's usually $15-20, something like that, and if there's a problem, I just buy them for people, but, you know, it's a nice thing to do.
Does the hotel have air conditioning in Italy?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
All of them?
yes. We made sure, because Steve was
Come
like,
on,
we
Steve,
better make sure, yes.
Steve can attest to it, we did not have air in one of our places.
I have a
In
quick
Ireland,
question.
Yes,
Explain the double and single occupancy again to me, because I didn't understand it.
yes. If you have a hotel room and you have 2 people in it, let's say it costs $100 a night, then they both would be like responsible for 50 and 50, right? But if you have one person who wants a single occupancy, that hotel room still costs $100. So they have to pay the extra where they would have a roommate who would be paying the extra.
Okay, so it would be like, if, let's say, in theory,
Uh-huh,
it would be like me and her, it would be like $35.95 for her and then $35.95 for me.
correct.
Okay, that's the part that I wanted to just,
Yep, and then you can group
clarify.
together. Yep.
Okay, yep,
Because
got
then you're double, right,
alright, I got it.
right.
That's,
And by the way, even though she's not 21, there are lots of other beverages that you would
Yes.
have with your meals.
Yes, that's why I said a beverage.
but mommy likes to imbibe, so.
Although there was one time, we were in Paris, and there was a group of, I think, 5 students, and they all got served a glass of white wine before any of us knew it,
Oh, whoops.
and they were fine, but they were a little embarrassed because they thought they'd get away with it, and they didn't get away with it. It was all just fine, but, yeah, Paris is a little more lenient.
Oh, so long ago.
That was a long time ago.
For sure.
But it happened.
That's
It happened.
your 21 rule though, like, because we're traveling with you, it's 21?
Yeah, and usually we do all school rules, all
Okay,
American
for the-
school
for-
rules.
Yes, for the teenagers, all school rules apply.
Right,
Okay,
right,
I mean, we're fine, but
right.
I just know.
But no,
the
that's really
drinking age in
important.
Italy is very
Anything,
low.
like if we were going to Chicago, all the same rules, even though we're international, it's just, if you're a school-age child, that's what it is. Now, I will say, if you have a parent traveling with you, and the parent makes a different decision, I don't say anything, I'm not the parent, I'm just the director.
America, there's no-
So a parent can make another decision if they want. I mean, we are in Europe, you know, it is a little more relaxed, so.
Hey Steve, on
That's all my
Italy,
questions.
if you're gonna stay later, which is our game plan, I think, we don't know yet.
What time frame do we need to get worked out with the airfare? Like before? I mean-
Yes, yeah, like latest February, if you can get it to me the end of the year, January, that would start looking at that would be better, just because we've been finding the longer you wait, the air really jumps up quite a bit.
Oh, yeah, I
So
know.
for your own good, it would be well worth planning
I
early.
know,
in
I'm
those.
going to New Zealand in a couple of weeks and.
So-
booked that like,
Keith
3
and his
months
wife are thinking about, well, they're going to Italy with us, but then they're thinking of extending their trip. So what the question was, if you didn't hear it for the recording, when should you check with Carol about getting different airfare coming back to the United States? And she was saying, right after Christmas, first of the year, I mean, if you're gonna make the decision, make your plans and say, well, yes, we're staying 5 extra days. We'd like to fly back out of the same airport, but we'd like to be there 5 days and then just come back on another flight. So they can do that, but the sooner we have that, the better. Only because, especially as it gets into the summer, the price goes up.
And you're responsible for the difference in price for the later return date, if there is any. Usually works out to be even, but sometimes not.
When do you actually book the flights? Because when we did Ireland, the timing was off. You had said 10, and they ended up getting it at 5:30 in the morning. So I ended up we ended up going to Ireland.
Right,
a day
they
early.
had so schedule changes can always happen
Absolutely.
until really the week before.
Right.
Technically, they all happen before the group ticketing is done. The Ireland was a little bit different because we didn't have a group minimum. The group
Right.
minimum is 10, so with these other groups, we have one set of flights, and for Italy, they already held one set of flights for the whole, so everyone pays the same, because otherwise you might pay this, you might pay this, so it's all the same, everyone pays the same amount. But the nice thing is we're flexible. Right now, we have to commit to 90% of the seats we're holding, so we're still have leeway. And then ticketing actually happens 2 months before you travel, so that's when we have to commit with the names. Until then, we can fluctuate on names. So that's what kind of makes it nice and flexible for groups, because people can add and change and not have to have all, because you'd have to also have the full airline payment into us right now, and that's $1,400 alone in air that you don't want to pay right now. So that's really the nice thing that with that we can hold it for $100 per person, and then you guys can make payments on it, and then we pay the final payment 60 days prior.
So when you go to Italy, where are you going into?
I'm pretty sure it's Lufthansa that we got you guys.
No. What
Oh,
airport?
in Milan it's Malpensa, and I'd have to look. I'm pretty sure it's Malpensa, but we have one group that's going into the smaller Milan airport, and Rome only has the Rome, Florence Air, the Rome.
Because we
Ticini
may
airport.
book our airfare completely separate.
Yeah, and I
to
can
get
send
there
you, the
and
flight.
come back.
Yeah, I'll just send you the flight details, so, yeah,
too.
just
Me too.
email me, I'll send you
I'll
the flight
email you, yeah.
details, and then you guys can match it or not match it, but know when we're getting.
So I don't know if you're catching some of this dialogue going on, but the individual attention that people can get, because this is your trip, is wonderful, okay? Because you can modify or change or be flexible, and they will really work with you. They really will. So that's different than some companies. I gotta tell you, it's really very nice. It's a lot more work.
It's your trip, and I mean, it's not small amount of money,
Right.
and it's a pretty far distance to go as well, so if you can.
And what I
extend
didn't
your
mention,
stay-
I just remember, of course we're going to the Vatican in Rome, and you will have a choice. Now, I'm gonna go and have Mass. Hopefully the Pope is gonna be there. Sometimes the Pope is not there. And sometimes, if he's not well, I mean, he doesn't, but I'm hoping that the Pope is gonna be there and do Mass, because I'm gonna be there in the square. But if you'd rather not, we will have another option. If you don't wanna be like out with the zillion people out on the,
Waiting in line at 7 a.m.
yes. But,
It's worth it.
but it's worth it. I mean, how many times are you in Rome? Okay, and the Pope does Mass, and we have really scheduled this trip kind of around the opportunity. So the last day we're there, we can do the Vatican and have Mass with the Pope. It's really cool. And then that last night, we go to a restaurant and we get a pasta making class.
Oh, cool.
And then you get to eat the pasta you make.
So I hope you're good to go.
Wow.
It's a really cool place.
I know.
It's really cool. We ate there, so I can tell you that.
We didn't make
Hard to
pasta.
screw that up.
Well, we wanted to save that for the actual
Plus-
trip.
It was beautiful, it was
They're gonna
outside,
tell you
and it had the lights, and so on.
So this flyer, this has dates, it has some of the highlights. And if you want more of these, you know, either give to your friends or to post or something, we really do need more people for Italy. We really want to, you know, if we had about 45, that's a really nice number. You know, for the bus, you know, and for the sometimes we can't go into some of the restaurants with more than that because, you know, they only seat so many. They only may seat 60. You know, if we're having like a dinner in a place, if I'm thinking of one place, we go down off the square. Is that in Venice?
Well, there's one in Rome like that too, but it may be the one in Venice.
We go off down the piazza, and then the ceilings are like this. Oh my gosh, the food was incredible.
Incredibly good.
Yeah, so no counting calories in Italy. I mean, really. Yes.
So I'm seeing on here, single not available. So I am on my own. I don't necessarily have a travel partner right now.
It will be, I'm confirming the price from the hotel, and that's why for the single supplement, so that's why I couldn't get that finished for tonight's meeting.
Oh, got it. Okay.
But because 24 is a little, oh, that's Italy. They changed a couple of things, and so we had to just look at it.
We have a number of people who travel who are singles.
So you could also choose a roommate if you'd like.
Okay.
So, you know, I would put in as double for right now, we can always adjust it later.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I'm just making sure, I think I know the answer. But airfare is included in this
Yes.
number?
Yes.
Okay,
You'd be surprised how many people ask that.
okay.
Airfare on your first checked bag as well. So
Oh.
up to 50 pounds. Now, we do suggest to only pack like 35, 40, so you have enough to take back. Or do the, you know, take your.
And I have a scale, and I can help if you know, whatever. But yes, you get one checked bag, and air is included, both ways,
Yes.
both there and back.
Round
No,
trip.
really, you'd be surprised how many people say, and then how much do we pay for air? Oh, you mean air is included with this? Yes, it is.
That's because some don't do that. Some travel companies, air it on
Right.
top of it.
Right. Well, we mostly work with student groups as a majority of the business, so I work with quite a few community groups as well, but for us, it's an all-inclusive. I mean, kids don't have money to worry about tips or, you know, luggage fee or, you know, that on top. So we try to package it for all of you as much as inclusive, so you can really enjoy and not have to think about those kind of things. I mean, that's why you book a group tour, to follow along, enjoy, and
So
not
this
think, right?
idea of gratuities and tips, when we go places, like when we have a guide for a walking tour or a step on the bus, we tip them, but it's already included in your price. You've already done that. You don't have to be tipping. You don't have to pass the hat or the envelope, which is nice. The bus driver already has his tip.
We still give it to him afterwards, make sure he takes care of you first, but we already have that budgeted for, so.
But that's kind of cool. I think because you know. Anyways, whatever.
So, there are bathrooms in the hotel rooms?
Yes.
Don't
yep.
have to go down the hall?
No, these
Okay.
are, yeah, en suite, so each
Okay.
hotel room has its own full bath.
Okay,
So
great.
maybe a bathtub with a shower, it may just be an actual shower stall thing.
Electricity is different, but we'll talk about that later.
20.
Yeah. But yes, we'll have your own bathroom. And that doesn't happen all the time.
Well, that's why I asked.
I know, it's a good question. These are good questions. And these are questions because maybe you have some other experiences too.
Yeah.
We had one place in Germany, I think, where there was a shower in the middle of the room,
Oh,
and it
yeah,
was
the
all
Novotel.
glass.
The Novotel. But they had curtains, you could close. Remember that, the curtains?
I don't remember the curtains, I just remember
Oh,
this.
no, I don't think that, no, there weren't
I
any.
don't think there were
you
curtains in
found-
our.
The other rooms all had curtains.
We didn't have curtains.
I think you just didn't have a curtain.
That was a joke, okay.
They really, everybody else had curtains. Because they asked them where the curtains were, and then the people showed them where they were, and then they were all happy.
We didn't.
I mean, you know each other, it's all good.
If you can get kind of a little vibe on things, these trips are fun. We like to have fun. If you've traveled with us before, you know, I would like to think that you would like to suggest to other people to travel with us. Tracy and Maria just went to Ireland with us. You know, we had a blast. We really had a good time, didn't we?
Yes, it was great.
That's why they're here, right?
Good answer, good answer.
They came back.
He was the best of
So
us.
that must.
You traveled with us.
Scotland, yeah.
You went to Scotland.
I thought he looked familiar.
Yeah,
Blood Point and Haggis, it was great.
nice, nice. So it is nice to see repeat people, it really is. But students, you can go by yourself as long as you are on time and you're nice. And we kind of take care of you, but you need to take care of yourself too. I have had one student who kind of needed a little more mothering. But, well, anyways. So, yes, students you can go to as well, and if you're watching this, it's a great opportunity. But we do ask for a lot of responsibility. I mean, you carry your own bags, you're responsible for yourself, your own phone. It's nice with cell phones now because you can be in touch with anybody back in this country, you know, like daily. It's great, it really is good. You don't have to buy film because now everybody has pictures on their camera. Although, you know, it's coming back. The cameras, the big Canons and stuff.
The digital.
Really?
Digital cameras, they are coming back. They are very hot right now. Yeah. Other questions? Now, if you get home and say, oh man, I should have asked that, email me. Or I can send it right to Carol and she can help. She's very good.
And one more question.
Okay,
Are you for 100% we're sure for Italy, right?
yes,
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Cannot postpone again.
It better not, come on.
We asked the question.
We're in it.
We
The
could've done
concert
it.
venues just confirmed everything. You're in it for
Good.
the long run.
Italy is good. Yeah, that was really hard.
Yeah.
That was really hard.
It
That was
was
a
devastating.
great group, yeah, well, but you know what? It wasn't our choice.
I
It wasn't
know.
something we could do,
Worldwide.
so,
When were you supposed to
Everything really
go?
had shut down on that Sunday.
Yeah,
It
because
really
it's
had.
not- yeah.
School was shut on Thursday.
but interestingly
Friday,
enough,
and we're like, we're
Ireland
gonna
was
do
one of the
this.
first to open up.
No, we didn't.
They really were, and there are so many people who are enjoying Ireland right now. It's really cool. But we're looking forward to Italy and just excited about it. So share and get some other nice people, and let's go. All right. Take a card. Take any more of these if you'd like, and we'll be in touch. But thank you for coming tonight.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks for putting it together.
You're more than welcome.
Now I have to